Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to be talking about my Napoleonic update. Alright, I'm going to periodically through this video, I'm going to put some picture-in-picture right here of what we're talking about, and so you can kind of see. I'm going to talk about it without knowing what I'm going to videotape, so there might be a little disconnect, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so as you know, I'm doing a Waterloo project where I'm taking a bunch of models or a bunch of units that participated in the Battle of Waterloo and Quatre Bras, and I'm putting them together and painting them. Now, speaking of the Allied side, we're looking at British, KGL, we're looking at British Line, British Light. We're looking at rifles. We're looking, what else we got? We've got Brunswickers, Line and Light, and Avant-Garde, and Jaegers. And we're looking at Liebgard and Brunswicker. Okay, that was what I just said. Oh, and then we got the Uhlans and the Hussars. And we got the Dutch Belgians with some Dutch line and Belgian line and Dutch militia and... we got the Dragoons and the Hussars. We also have Nassau and two different factions. We got the Orange Nassau. We got the Usigan Nassau. We have the Hanoverans. We got the I guess field battalions is what you would call them, which could be line or light. Then you got the Landwehr battalions, which are the militia. You got the tons of different cavalry, the Life Guards, the Scots Greys, and okay, I'm just gonna stop there. There's a ton of different units, right? And that's just the Allied side. So we got, and you got the French. And if I want to expand, we're going to have the Prussians as well. So there are a ton of different units. Now, I can't do every single unit in 28 millimeter. I'm thinking about it, but I'm not going to be able to do it. That'd just be too crazy. But so I'm focusing kind of on specific units. I'm going to build them out, and then maybe if I get finished building those out, maybe I'll move on to another unit. Maybe over the course of 10 years or something like that, maybe I'll have every unit. But I'm picking some of the ones out that I really like. Plus, I'm picking out the ones that I want to be able to participate in specific battles areas. Also, I'm making maps. Okay, so... and then I'm also contemplating like size of buildings based on ground scale and things like that. And I've had a lot of comments on the channel about don't worry about the ground scale, just put a nice looking building out there or whatever. And yeah, I'm going to do that obviously, but I don't want it to be too big that it dominates the table where you can't actually play and you can't deploy troops into it and stuff like that. So I'll figure that out. Don't worry about that. I always figure that out. But I just want to get you updated on where we're at. Okay, so I've just finished, well, just today, I actually finished my Brunswick Hussar unit. And it's 12 of the models are front rank and 6 of the models are parry. And you're saying, damn, Mr. Everything, that's 18 models. Well, the Brunswick Hussars is a large cavalry unit. And I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do it, right? So I knew that 12 was your standard unit. And so I ordered, the front rank 12 figure cavalry unit bag. It came with 12 models. And then I knew that I needed more. I thought I would need 2 more bases of 2 figures each for 4 models, So I ordered 2 packs of Perry Brunswick Hussars, which in every pack you get 3. So there's a total of 6 coming in. I said, okay, I'm going to have a couple extras. I'm just going to put them in command stands or with artillery or something, you know, as a limber guy riding next to the limbers, or maybe just make a little diorama kind of thing. I don't know what I was going to do with them. But when I got to thinking about how I was going to base the models, I realized right away that I needed all 18 of them. If you didn't know this, I have, and I'll put the figures up here so you can see. I put my cavalry from now on, from ever since I did the Empress Dragoons, I've realized I'm going to put 12 models on 4 bases. And so there's going to be 3 cavalry per base. So when I'm 3 and 3, 3 and 3. So there's going to be a total of 12. Right? So I figured if I do that, then I can't add 2 small 2 and 2s. I needed 2 more 3 and 3s. So I said, okay, let's paint all these up. Now, before I actually glued them down to the base, I went into the 2nd edition black powder rules to find where it said how many figures were in a unit. I didn't find that chart anywhere. The only place I could find that chart was in 1st edition. 1st edition says number of figures, you know, if it's a small, medium, large unit or whatever, and then how big the stands should be with a small, medium, or large unit, you know, frontage wise, and all that information's in the 1st edition book. I didn't see that in the 2nd edition book. They're a little bit more open to that. It did say how wide a figure's base is. It did say how many figures you should put on a base, but it didn't really say anything else after that. So in the 1st edition book, I looked at large cavalry. It said 18. No ifs, ands, or buts. Not 12, not 14, not 20. It said 18. And I was like, well, that works perfect. Okay, that works out perfect. So I'll just put 18. I'll put 3 on a base, and I'll have 6 bases instead of 4 bases. Which a lot of cavalry units would have 6 bases if there was 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, but I'm doing 3 per base. Not because I want the figure bases to be bigger, not because I want the unit to be bigger, let's rephrase that. It's because if I could get away with just 1 base with all the figures mounted on 1 base, I would do that. But there has to be a way to represent different formations that a cavalry unit can adopt or an infantry unit can adopt. And that's why you have multiple bases in a unit. And so I figured, well, what can cavalry do? They can do a straight line, 18 models just straight across, or normally it's 12. Or they could do a double line, so you're looking at 6 and 6. Or they could do a march column, which with 6 bases, 2 figures wide, you would just have 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, so you'd have 6 bases in a row for a march column. Well, that's exactly what this large unit is. It's 3 across, 6 deep. A normal cavalry unit, for me nowadays, is 3 on a figure, 3 on a base. A march column would still be 3 across, 4 deep, which still works out as a march column because the column is deeper than the width. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with my cav. I ordered a ton of Hanover Okay, I got 2 front rank orders. One of my orders came in. The second one is on the way. It should be here any day now. I ordered a bunch of front rank Hanoverists. Hanover guys with field caps, guys with stovepipes, guys with Belgic Shakos, and I didn't have enough. I went through my order and I realized, oh darn, I don't have enough of these guys in the right configuration to do the 8 battalions that I need. Right? I need more than that. I need 4 Landwehr battalions and I need 5 field battalions. 3 of them are line, 2 of them are light. I think that's right. Most of them are going to have field caps, but there are some with Belgic Shakos and there are some with the stovepipe Shakos. And it doesn't really matter how I do it because I've come to the conclusion that nobody really knows, because they had all the units had all the caps. The field cap, every Hanover unit had the field cap. So if I wanted to just do everybody in field caps, I could. A few of the units had the Belgic Shakos and the field caps. A few of them had the stovepipes and the field caps. Some of them had the Belgic Shakos and the stovepipes and the field caps, because it's almost like they got a shipment of Belgic Shakos, but there wasn't enough for everybody, or something like that. So when I put them together, what I think I'm going to do, and I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to do this, but what I'm going to try to do is use the field caps for most of the Landwehr. That way, it'll be easy to identify which ones are a Landwehr. And then I'm going to do like the stovepipes for the light units, and then the Shakos for the line units. Might be good that way, but some of my command from front rank are mixed, which means they've got field caps and stovepipes, or field caps and Shakos in the command element. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to get all these bags in, and then once the second order gets here, then I'll be able to decide. The Hanover unit you get in the Waterloo starter set is just British infantry sprues with field caps, and I already have a ton of those. So I thought about taking those British infantry sprues and then putting Shakos on them from other British sets that I still have Shakos, because you usually get more heads than you get bodies. So I probably still have a few of these Shakos laying around. I could flesh out some of my units with those Warlord plastics, but I don't think I'm going to do that now that I'm sharing this with you. I think I ordered too many of them. I'm going to be honest. I think I ordered too many. Well, you can't have too many Hanovers, because there's like half the British Army was Hanover units. But I only need the 9 units that I'm doing. I think I might have so all those Hanover units in the plastic. I think I'm just gonna use them as British. I think, or King's German Legion or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out. Just use them like they're British troops, because that's really the same sprue. It's just the heads are different. Or I'll take the Belgic Shako Hanover guys from front rank and use them as British, and then use those plastic warlords with the field caps as Hanovers. I'm going to have to figure out how many extra heads I have. It's going to be a nightmare. I've already figured it out. It's like... and then, okay, and then just today, I got another order in from Perry, which I got the Perry order in because I needed those. I didn't get the Perry. I did get the Perry order in today. Oh, the second half of the Perry order. Yeah, because the Perry came in 2 boxes. The second half of the Perry order came in today, and it had some British Command. Okay, no big deal. That's from other British units, like a Brunswick cannon and a 95th Rifles. I got them in. But it also had some Hanover Command and some Hanover Light and Hanover Militia groups of like 6 figures at a time. And I was like, I ordered those when I thought I was going to be using the plastics from the Waterloo sets to flesh out my Hanovers. And I was going to do that. But I forgot. I didn't write it down. I just forgot when I put my second front rank order in. When I put my second front rank order in, I said, okay, I'm going to flesh out all these Hanover units that I was planning on doing. So I have a feeling that I'm going to have like 2 or 3 extra Hanover battalions that I don't need. So I might post those on eBay. As I might paint them up anyway, or I might hold on to them, or just sell the figures blank. I don't know. It'll make it easier for me to organize my British into, or the Hanovers into, like what I was saying, my Landwehr, my lights, and or the field battalions, which are line and light. So once I get all that sorted out, I'll let you know. I'll let you know how I got that figured out. But yeah, that's the big dilemma I'm in right now. But I do have I have 2 Brunswick light battalions sitting on the table over there. I primed them, and so I'm waiting for the primer to dry before I start painting them. Yeah, so I'm... Okay, the last thing was the French. I think I told you about this already, but I'm going to re-emphasize it. The French, I painted 3 battalions. I think I told you. I painted 3 battalions, and I was going to make that 1 regiment, with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd battalion. But I decided I couldn't do that because of the Eagles on the 2nd and 3rd battalion. Yeah, so those guys are up and finished. So I was thinking I was going to start my French artillery. But I'm not going to start my French artillery because half of the Victrix order that I ordered back in December is now on its way, and that has a couple of bags of French artillery in it. And I want to do them all at the same time. I don't want to do some now and some later. It's easier for me to paint groups of the same type. So what I try to do is I mass produce. So I'm going to probably put like 10 cannons together and paint them all at the same time. And that's why I do the generals all at the same time, stuff like that. But okay, now let's talk about the 15 millimeters. I did paint, and here, funny enough, they're Hanovers as well. Well, I painted up some Hanovers. I put them on a variety of different size bases. I put them on the 60 millimeter base, 60 millimeter by 20 millimeter deep bases. They didn't fit depth wise. Width wise, they were fine, but depth wise, they were more than 20 millimeters. I put them on 20 by 30s. Well, that didn't help because it's still 20 millimeters deep. I tried 20 by 40s. Guess what? Still 20 millimeters deep. It didn't work. Does not work. One of the commenters on the channel said he used 30 by 30s and put them in rows of in 3 rows. So I still couldn't do that because 10 millimeter depth per figure was not enough because I'm putting them in 2 ranks. I needed a little bit more. I needed like 12 or 13 millimeters per figure. So I decided to reach back into my crystal ball of days yonder when I played Napoleon's battles. When I played Napoleon's battles, I had 20 millimeter by 25 millimeter bases. They were 20 millimeters wide and 25 millimeters deep. So I pulled a couple of those out and put the figures on there. They fit perfect. 20 millimeters wide, 2 models wide, no problem. But I said that doesn't look, and it doesn't look epic enough. I know that's crazy, right? So I said, okay, let me put 24 figures out. Just didn't look right. Didn't look good enough. 24 figures. So on the 28 millimeters, they look good because you got bigger models, bigger bases. It looks good. But when you're looking at a smaller figure on a smaller base, I mean, why don't I just play with meeples, right? Why don't I just put a drop of glue on a base and say, there you go, I've got a figure. No, I needed it to be like grandiose. So I said, okay, how many figures am I going to put? I could put 4 figures on a 40 millimeter wide base and 25 millimeters deep. And I was like, okay, that looks pretty good. I mean, it actually looks really good. The downside is it's 40 millimeters wide. And that's the same as the normal figure base, the 28 millimeter bases. So I said, nope. If it's going to be a smaller scale model, the base width has got to be smaller. It's the whole reason why you play with a smaller figure is so that you can get more in a smaller table. So I said, no. So what I did was I compromised. I didn't go with the 20 millimeter like Napoleon's battles. I didn't go with a 40 millimeter like black powder. I went with a 30 millimeter. I cut the difference. And I'll post the figures right here so you can see them. 30 millimeters wide, 25 millimeters deep. I could put 6 figures on a base. So if you take, so it's pretty much what a lot of people are playing with in 28 millimeter. I've noticed that a lot of people in 28 millimeter use the Perry mounting method, which is the 6 figures on a base, which makes it look, well, it means you have 6 more figures. Actually, you have more than that. You got a shitload more miniatures. You're looking at like 36 models, because 6 times 6. So you're looking at 36 models on a 36 models in a normal unit. Well, that's okay in 15 millimeter. In 15 millimeter, that's only like $15, something like that, because I'm paying $20 for 50 models. So if I take 36 of those and make a unit, that's fine. I mean, if I could take 48, which is what you got right here, I got 8 bases. So that would be considered a large unit. It's a lot less, well, not a lot less, but when you have multiple units, it looks a little bit, I mean, it does compress the size of the unit on the table, it's only 25 millimeters deep instead of 40 millimeters. So when you've got march columns or if you have attack columns, they're not as deep. So it actually does save a lot of space. I'd have to do the math to get you the percentage, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, now the flip side is I thought about this. I mean, I could do my armies in 15 millimeters, but I don't want to do that. There is an argument that says that 15 millimeters is more of a gamer's scale, and that 28 millimeter or larger is a painter's scale. And I agree with that. I'm at a point in my, I think I'm at a point in my gaming that I'm more concerned about the miniatures, the painting, the look. I'm more concerned with that than I am the game mechanics, if that makes sense. Because I can change game mechanics. I could play British Grenadier, Hail Caesar, well, maybe not Hail Caesar, British Grenadier, Black Powder. I could play Napoleon's Battles. You could play a bunch of different rule sets. That'll come and go with the wind. But the figures, they need to look good. And that's the point where I'm at now. If you asked me 20 years ago, I would say 15 millimeter because I want to have enough figures to do all of Waterloo. Where now that's not a concern of mine, even though I'd love to do all of Waterloo and I still like the game. Personally, I think painting is more important and the look of the figures. So I think I've transitioned from gamer to artist. All right, well, that's it. I just wanted to tell you about my Hanover project. I mean, it's a disaster. I'm gonna figure it out. I've got them like in bags, and I'm gonna lay them all out. And once I figure out exactly, once my last order comes in, I'm gonna figure out how many extra heads I have, how many heads I need, because I'm just gonna try to get all those units put together and painted properly and mounted properly. And I'm not going to do 6 figures. I probably could do 6 figures per, but I'm not going to do that, per base. That'll throw everything. That'll throw all my other units off. I have a unit up there of Nassau. I think the Nassau Usagan. No. Nassau, the orange Nassaus, which are like in blue uniforms. That's based 6 per base. I think I'm going to sell those because, I could rebase them. I guess I could pop them off and then reglue them on the proper size base. I'm going to probably wind up doing that because, that's probably what I'm going to do. Because I just don't like the infantry mounted on those 6-figure bases. Because I only have 4 bases, and you need 6 to do some of the formations that I'm trying to do. So, numbers of bases are very important. All right. I'll catch you in the next one.